A drugstore catwalk.
You know what I'm hearing more and more is that the saints at Grace are really opening up and sharing about the Lord. So that's encouraging to hear. And that is, I want to share a testimony. And that's what I often do with people. I'll tell them, you know, examine the life of Jesus. You know, people have their arguments, but I just point them to the Lord. You know, and I say, after you're examining the life of Jesus, then make your decision. You know, no man ever spoke like that man. And so, but I have my own story about a rough, gruff person. You know, I have a man, he's a man, and I have this certain store that I go into a lot. I don't want to tell you too much because he may show up. So it's best to be covert here, somewhat. Anyways, you're praying for Lou's drugstore lady. You can pray for my store man. Right. God knows his name. That's what's important. But anyways, you know, did you ever have one of the, you know, I think of myself that, hey, the Lord is in my life and He's the Lord of glory. I have this treasure in earthen vessels. I can love anybody with His help. But then there come those people that you feel like, you know, this is really impossible to do. You know, Jesus said, be ye therefore perfect, even as your Father in heaven is perfect. Right. Be perfect, mature, you know, loving my enemies. I mean, because before He said that, He mentioned some pretty hard things to do. Yeah. Love your enemies. Pray for them that use you, persecute you, despitefully use you. I mean, do we really practice that in our everyday life? I would probably say not to the extent. You know, like Randy spoke something that I often tell to my kids, you know, you can't love God whom you've never seen if you can't love your brother who you have seen. You know, when we say that, and that can be a pretty heavy verse, because that makes us examine our heart. Am I loving people? You know, but this man, you know, I've gone in that store a lot, and he's got the same look. He looks like he's the most depressed man in the world. And angry at that. Angry and depressed with the world. And I'll go in and say, you know, what's your recommendation on this? I don't give recommendations. I'm thinking, you're the store owner. You're the expert here. You know, I mean, I didn't verbalize that. But in my heart, I had much disgust with this man. You know, he's a jerk. And that's what came to my mind. And so I go in over the years, and he was always the same. You know, and I've been praying for him. I started to pray for him. And that was significant, because in my mind, I just thought, you know, I knew some verses that I could use and say, well, he wants to be that way, you know, let him be that way, you know. But I knew in my heart that that wasn't the right way to think about it. I knew that that wasn't the way of the Lord. And it really affected me, you know. So, I'm not going to do that. And so anyways, I would go in month after month, you know, every month and a half or so, and he was always the same. And I would just leave out of there disgusted. You know, this guy, how can he even own a store? His personal skills stink. You know. And so I began to pray for him. The Lord brought him to my mind, and I would pray for him. And I just thought, God, you know, I've witnessed to people, but I just don't want to witness to him. I just don't want to tell him about Jesus. Because I know what he's going to say. I can tell by the look in his face what he's going to say. He's going to tell me I don't have anything to do with religion, and I'm an atheist, all you religious people are hypocrites. I had rehearsed it in my mind, what he would say. And so I ordered a part from them, and the part came in, and I knew, I'm not going to go there and meet this guy again. But that morning I woke up, I was thinking about him, and I was praying for him. I said, okay, Lord, I'm going to take a real step of faith here. I've been telling the people at Grace Fellowship that they need to step out and open their mouths and let the love of God swallow their fears. That if we love God, we got to love people, and we don't want to see them go to hell. But I knew that I needed God's help to do that. I just knew there would be no way. So I was, having this conversation going on in my mind as I'm laying there in bed. I said, I'm going to invite him to church. There's different ways you can witness to people, and God can show you what words to use. But I felt like that was the avenue I was going to, rather than just get into this, you're a sinner and you need Jesus. I just thought, I'm going to invite him to church. I never told him that I went to church. Never told him that I was a pastor at this church, and so I went in there, and I go in there and I'm smiling, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do it. And I walk up to the counter, and I said, barely says hello. I said, Dan Green, picking up a part. And he just kind of broke something and walked off to the back room. And as he was walking, I said, hey, do you go to church anywhere? And he said, said something like, maybe once or twice a year if somebody invites me. But he had that, he gave me that first, before he answered, he gave me that expression like, I think I'm going to waste my time with that. And then he said that a little bit, and then he walked off into the back room. So I'm like, okay, that didn't work too well. Okay, I'm about to move on to step 2 here. I got to do it. I'm going to do this, Lord. I'm a mighty man of God. You try to pump yourself up, but inside I felt like a little wimp. I felt like, because he intimidated me. What it was, he just intimidated. There are some guys, some people just intimidate you. And it's not that he's just a kind of a small guy. I might have been able to take him. I don't know. But the point is that he intimidated me because of his attitude. Just being rough like that. And I'm kind of a shy person anyway. So he came back, and I said, well, that look you gave me says that you don't care much for church. He said, well, you go there and somebody gives their interpretation of a verse, reads the Bible and gives their interpretation of it. And then somebody else gives their interpretation of it. And I'm just kind of listening, and trying to really understand where he's coming from. I said, you're right, I said, if you look across the spectrum,